to some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. With sympathy.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome, Northside. Good to see you, my friend. It's been a while.
I know. How you doing, bro?
Good, good. All very good. Everybody, I just want to say, the intro that you've just seen and the other graphics are all done by this young man here, Conor, CMO. Go and find him. If you ever need any graphics done for your channel, whatever, this is the young man. He did that for me back last... August, July?
Yeah, around summertime. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, top fella. Kenny Kent, how are we doing, man?
I'm all good. It's absolutely freezing, but I think that's something we discussed before. You know, if anyone's going to feel the pinch, and anyone feels the temptation to sort of, increase their energy bills, I wouldn't blame them. But I'd just say to them, you know what? Keep yourself busy. Keep drinking water, mate. Don't give in to these people.
Totally right. Totally agree, mate. Darren, how you doing, friend?
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having us on again. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Not done a lot today, but looking forward to tomorrow. Freezing out there. At the minute, it's not a lot you can do, really, is there? I mean, you can go for a run, but when you get to my age, you just think, injuries, broken bones, strains, and all that. Yeah, if you run over your local park, you go running, you know, you've only got to step in something, a hole or something in the park, and then you strain something and go and do your ankle or something. So I think I'll leave it for about another 3 or 4 weeks before I start doing my 2 lap of my local park, which I like to do to keep me ticking over.
Fair play to you, mate. I'm going to say, going running in this weather, icy, mate, you could slip over and that's your arm gone or your leg, whatever. But fair play to you going running. I've gone past a bit all that now. I just do a little bit of weights and that at home nowadays. Well, you know, doing weights with the old wine glass, you know, that's pretty good for me. Anyway, Conor, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm really good. Had a good week. I'm looking forward to the sporting game. Of course, we had a very interesting game on the weekend. I think we can all say when we done a show on the week, just the day before, I think the game was 2 days before, we were all very confident that we'd go in and absolutely smash them. But that game was crazy. That was a really and the final goal from Reece Nelson, I think that was just. I can't even explain it. The emotion was crazy. I really did not. I thought it'd be a classic thing. I thought it's going to be a 2-2. I know we put a load of pressure on them at the end, but I thought can't see it. But it was a fantastic game, and that's the type of game that really that makes you feel, in my opinion, that you can go ahead and get this title. You know, I think if that was us a couple seasons ago, that would have been 2-0 to Bournemouth. But it's the fact that we came back fighting, and I thought it was a great game. But yeah, we'll move on from that. And I think sporting coming up tomorrow, I think will be an interesting one. You know, Europe's always interesting when it comes to Arsenal. So, but I think it'll be a good game. And it's actually nice to actually have some knockout European football, because obviously we didn't have that last year or last season even. And so it'll hopefully be a good game. And obviously it's away there first. So if we can get a result there, I think we can definitely secure the second leg win at home as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, mate. Northside, you did a great stream the other night. Massive views. Something like 12,000 views you got. Absolutely classic. Fair play to you. And Prince Fowd, it says, Northside London is running scared from the Prince of Princes. What you got to say about that, mate?
That's funny because I do a stream almost every day. So where am I running to? I'm running back on stream.
Absolutely. And so, Kenny, I hear that Jesus is travelling with the squad. Now, I don't think he's going to make an appearance, do you? I think he's just going along just to be there, to be part of the squad, be, giving them support. I mean, the last report I heard, he was back training, but not in physical contact training. So I think he's just there just to bolster the team, give them support. What's your view?
I think so as well. I think he's nowhere near, getting on the pitch. He's only just joining the full training. So I think he's going to be part of the match day squad. Not the part of the match day squad, but the match day, convey. But to be honest, I think if he's like 80% fit, maybe we can get him on. Like I said, maybe get him on to come on against maybe Palace next week, and then after the the World Cup, the European Championship qualifiers, he's got to go. Leeds at home, that'd be a great game for us, and great game for him to sort of show his quality and get us back into like I said, contention. Don't get me wrong, we're 5 points ahead, and that's brilliant. But I think everyone's probably in agreement that we're a lot stronger, a lot more balanced as a team when Jesus is up front. So, and he definitely gets the best out of Martinelli. Don't get me wrong. Trossard's done nothing wrong. And who knows, maybe those two can push each other. But the more we talk about Trossard, the more we talk about Jesus, the less we talk about Nketiah. And that's not having a go at Nketiah. It's just the team's got to come first. He's had his chance. He's given us, like I said, like fox in the box. But in terms of what we need, in terms of getting the best out of all our front three, we're a better team when Trossard's in the team, and then when Jesus, comes at full fitness. So the sooner the better for me, because we've got some really big games. Leeds is massive because it's part of that title run, and then afterwards, Liverpool at Anfield. We never get anything there. Last time we won at Anfield, if my memory serves me right, it was in 2003 when Perez made it 2-1. Apart from that, we've won at Anfield in the League Cup twice and the FA Cup once. But in the league, it's thrashings. He's not even close. They murder us. So that's where we're going to need our best, fully focused team.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. Connor, Jesus has gone with the squad. I don't think he will appear personally. What's your view? Do you think he will get on? I don't think so, but give us your opinion, my friend.
I think obviously, well, if he does go, he'll obviously be on the bench, but I don't see it. I think I'd let him rest for now. I think if Trossard still meant to be out for this game? I don't know what an update is on that, but no, I don't see Jesus playing. I think he'll be on the bench. He might even get 5 minutes, but I don't see him playing any more than that. And if Trossard isn't even available tomorrow, I don't even think he'll get anywhere near the team. Jesus, I think it could even be a strike force of possibly Reece Nelson on the wing and Martinelli up front, or inverting whatever they'll do there. But no, I don't see it. But I definitely would like to see him get 5 minutes, just a little run out. Hopefully, it won't be as much pressure tomorrow. Hopefully, we can actually get a decent result, and it won't be a case of throwing him on in the 75th minute. We need him to get something. But it's good to have him back. That's the main thing, and hopefully he can play maybe even 45 minutes at Fulham. But I definitely think take it in slowly. He's been out for a while. I don't want to rush him back into it, and he goes bam straight out for another injury, because he's someone we're definitely going to need for this remainder of the season, because April is looking very busy, not just because of the case of games, but the teams we've got to go up against. It's going to be tough. So no, I don't see him playing tomorrow. I don't think it could be a problem. No disrespect to Sporting. I think we'll be all right without him in the team. I mean, we've proved it in the league so far this season without him in it. So it'll be nice to see him get 5 minutes possibly, but I don't see him playing that much longer than that.
No, I don't think. I think he's just gone along to be part of the squad. And reportedly, I have no facts on this, apparently in the changing room, he really is very encouraging. And I think that may be what it's about. His experience of Europe may be an influence. Maybe, I don't know. Prince Fowd says, question for the panel, is it a risk playing Jesus? I think so. Northside, what's your view there? I think it's too early yet, personally.
Yeah, I think it's too early to give him 90 minutes. Maybe if he can come on for 15, 20 minutes, maybe it'll be a bit better for him. We don't need him being out longer. So I think we need to manage it, because in the past, I think at times this manager hasn't managed injuries the best way. Remember him pushing Partey back on the pitch. We've had instances like that, and I'd like to see that Arteta has learned. I think there has been times where we've seen Arteta learning, like against Bournemouth, when things are going wrong, he's changing it a lot earlier. So I'd like to believe that he's also learned in terms of injuries that you don't push players back on, you don't rush them back. It's better to just have them out for the time that they were set to be out, instead of extending that because you're being too ambitious. But at the same time, we've also seen in the group stages of the Europa League, this squad, when we're playing rotation players, struggle against teams like Zurich. Teams like PSV struggle against these teams. So we don't have the luxury to not go out there with our strongest side. If I'll be real with you, Jez, the Bournemouth game, we saw that. We put in Fabi Vieira. Was he any good? We put in Tomiyasu. Was he any good? You know, I know everybody had a stinker. I mean, Odegaard is a starter and didn't play excellently, but you see the levels, how drastic the drop is in quality when we start using a lot of these rotation players. So I'm expecting us to go very strong against Sporting Lisbon, because Sporting Lisbon is stronger than Zurich and they're stronger than PSV. So for me, go with your strongest squad available. We don't have that luxury. We all complained about it in the summer. We all complained about it in January, that the Achilles heel is still this bench. Yes, it's great that we're seeing a lot of fighting spirit from this team, and we're seeing that they don't give up. But at the end of the day, there is a major drop-off in quality when you're putting in certain players. So for me, we need to be serious about it, and we have to play our strongest lineup. I would like to see Saka get a bit of some rotation and maybe put on the bench, because I think he looked a bit burnt out against Bournemouth. I've seen the guy look burnt out in the last couple of weeks, to be honest, and he still delivers the goods. So he's the only player that I would really rotate. But I think we should go with the strongest team available, if I'll be honest with you.
Totally agree with that. I actually totally agree with that. Danny, mate, thank you once again. Jez, I've got 2 tickets for Liverpool-Arsenal. Can't wait. Last time I was against you, Vieira scored at Anfield. Crikey, that's some time ago then, isn't it? Bloody hell. That is seriously back in time. Excuse me, sorry, I've got somebody... Oh, piss off. The end of the it's cold call. I get them all the time. And Jorginho, I'm just going to mention, I can't see that these do not show up on StreamYard. Here's a stat for you. Since 2016, we've faced Liverpool 6 times in the league at Anfield with an aggregate loss of 22-4. That's not good. Darren, mate, I mean, and that's pretty awful, isn't it? I mean, but Jesus, do you think he'll make an appearance? I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. You've got to remember, if he's been out and he ain't been playing, he's recovered from an injury, he's had surgery, right? So where he is now, how long's he been training for? About a week? Pre-season, how long's that take? 6 weeks? It's not quite pre-season, but it's not far off pre-season. So on that basis, I wouldn't be surprised if we're not seeing Jesus coming off the substitutes bench for about another 3 or 4 weeks. You know, but just before I did this stream, I had a look on YouTube and I saw there was a clip of the squad training and they're all running. And he's running. He's up and down. He's running around these dummies and things out on the pitch. But I don't think he'd be. I don't even think he'd be on the bench tomorrow. I think he's just going along for the morale of it and the squad sort of bonding, if you like, and just so he's part of it and probably psychologically nudging a few players along the way. You know, so I don't think. I mean, sensibly, if you are going to stick him on the bench, if it was me, I'd put him on for 5 minutes at the end if we're 1-0, 2-1 up. Or I don't think I'd bring him on if we're chasing a game. If we're 2-0 down and we need to get an away goal, I don't even think I'd bring him on then, because I think the risks are too great. You've just spent all this time investing in correcting this player's injury, right, where he's been injured in the World Cup, and then you're going to undo all that time you've spent in rehabilitating him, getting him ready again to start again, effectively. So I don't think so. I can't see him starting. And if he's on the bench, I don't think he'd come on. And if, we're 3-0 up, maybe Arteta will put him on there and just say, have a little run around and stay out of trouble,
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that the fact, he's been out for a long time, I wouldn't want to risk him. We're coming into a very important part of the season now. We all know we've seen Arsenal capitulate at this time of the year and, been top of the league and ended up fourth in seasons gone past. So, no, don't risk him. We're going to need this fella. I would say end of March, April onwards, that's when we're going to get the best out of him. Kenny, good question here, mate. The ref, Diego Costa, says, that's a great name, that. I've come discussed with Arsenal fans saying for KT to be sold because he's apparently, I've heard, he's ill, sick, whatever. Ericsson, who died on a pitch, has more minutes this year for United than ESR has the whole last 3 seasons. This is ridiculous. Saying we have an international footballer who's won more than anybody at this club currently. Well, maybe outside of Jesus. And people are calling for him to be sold. He's the only decent left back we got.
People don't look at it like that, Jez. They don't look at it like that. They look at most Arsenal fans don't think for themselves. They just go on social media, see what's the most trending thing to say, and say that, and then the excuse will be, but we're picking up 3 points. Yeah, up until Zinchenko keep going into the middle of the park, leaving a gaping hole at left back, costs us. Then it will be, it's not just his fault. It's a youth project. There'll always be excuses for that kind of stuff. And I think that's right from Diego. I think ESR, for me, there's more reason for him to leave Arsenal Football Club. We've had this problem before. You guys will remember Diaby, we had Wilshere. We've had all of this. You can have all the talent in the world. If we're not seeing you on the pitch, well, it's not. What good is it to us? What good is it to us? Do you remember when we stood by Diaby? What did we get back for that? We stood by Wilshere. What did we get back for that? This is a football club. This isn't the NHS. This ain't Bupa. At the end of the day, you're either good enough or you're not good enough because you're taking up another space that we can give to somebody else. And I don't understand this whole thing about Kieran Tierney all of a sudden is rubbish. I understand certain games that you can use Zinchenko when you need to pack up the midfield. But at the same time, why not just put him in the position of Xhaka? Xhaka hasn't been excellent in the last couple of games. He's fallen off. So why don't actually people come out and say, you know what? It's better to put Zinchenko in the middle of the park. He plays like that for his country. Put him in the middle of the park and put Tierney as left back. Tierney can then support Martinelli. A Martinelli that doesn't look the same when you doesn't have a Jesus next to him and doesn't have an overlapping fullback, which Tierney will give. And then you've got Zinchenko that can do the exact same role that Xhaka does, which your job is to get forward, spray balls going forward, and try to feed the front three. And that is it. And Partey will shield the back line. Why can't we do that? That makes more sense. I've seen Zinchenko be more direct with his passing than I've seen Odegaard. A lot of times Odegaard is frustrating because he passes it backwards and sideways. Unless the opposition plays a high line, he doesn't go forward. He doesn't actually do anything with the ball. He looks like he's doing a lot, but he's not direct enough for a number 10. So why can't we do that? Even play Zinchenko as a 10. His passing is more effective. What's the point passing it backwards and sideways? You're not asking you're not stretching the defense. You're not asking questions of the defense. Why don't people come out with, why don't they analyze the game that way? Instead of just saying, KT, we need to get him out. We need to get rid of him. Over what logic? Are people not seeing that Martinelli is suffering because he's not being supported on that left-hand side? Playing with a striker, Trossard looks a little bit better, but that's not his position. Nketiah comes in, his link play is poor. He's just a fox in the box, but he doesn't bring anybody into the game. And if he doesn't score, he brings nothing. Then you got Zinchenko that's constantly, no matter if the midfield is packed out, just going into the midfield, going, and then on top of that, it's not only that he's being inverted, he's then forgetting to run back. At the end of the day, it was embarrassing because what Billing and Solanke could have done. I mean, he looked like the mixed race. He looked like the mixed race Mitrovic against us. You know what I mean? It's not good enough. So I don't understand with these agendas. I think a lot of Arsenal fans don't call out what needs to be called out, and they just go with these. I don't know where they come with this analysis. I don't understand, because Kieran Tierney, for me, defensively and possibly going forward, is the better fullback. But is what it is.
Kenny, you know, I mean, I'm a great. I rate Kieran Tierney. I think, you know, he is one of the best left backs in the Premier League. What's all this sudden turning against him? Everybody, when we were buying him, everybody wanted him, and now everybody wants him out. I don't get it.
I think they're taking the knee from the manager, because I think the manager's the one who's directing this, like the narrative, because of his team selections. You know, at first when we selected Zinchenko in the Crystal Palace game, I actually thought because it was an injury, but the more and more we see you know, games at the Emirates, games away from home, there's been times when Zinchenko hasn't been fit and he's gone to Tomiyasu. So that shouts a lot in terms of where fans are getting this theory that Kieran's not the fly for us. And I think the way we're playing at the moment, the way Mikel wants to play, it's hard to see a place for Kieran Tierney in this team. And I think that's why people are of the opinion, let's sell, because they know Newcastle are going to pay big money, and some of them are thinking from an accounting point of view. But I think, unfortunately, Mikel's made it not just about his injuries; he's made it for football reasons. And I think Mikel's a very, very ruthless manager. You know, I think that there's going to be even more casualties. I think Eddie Nketiah, that him signing his new contract is just an avenue for us to get a fee for him, because I can't see him being part of managers' plans next season, because I think the problem is the sad thing for Kieran Tierney, that when I'm talking about players who can help us win the league and help us do well in the Champions League, he's one of those players. But our manager has just all of a sudden just made it abundantly clear that the way he wants to play with an inverted fullback. He wants to, you know, have more bodies in the midfield, and Kieran Tierney just doesn't fit that criteria. He's basically doing what Pep does, what Klopp's doing, and what my guy Ten Hag's trying to do, and that's the problem. You know, we're seeing wingers dying out, becoming inverted, and now they're trying to make at least one of the fullbacks become inverted as well. So it's a no-win situation for Kieran Tierney. But for me, I like to have quality players at the football club. And Kieran Tierney is one of those players who I do not consider to be a top 4 player. I consider Kieran Tierney someone who can help us win the league. But it's up to the manager, really. It's up to the manager, because let's face it, Tavares isn't good enough at the moment, and probably never will be good enough. And there's disciplining issues as well with him in Marseille. So, you know, if we need to keep you know, top players who I can think of about a few players I'd like to see go. But you know it is. Money talks in football, and if Newcastle for big money, I'll tell them to go and get stuff. But I don't think Arteta will, and I don't think the club will. No,
Connor, I don't. You know, what's your view on Kieran Tierney? I mean, I think he's class. Why is this all of a sudden this witch hunt now? Oh, we got to sell Tierney. I don't get it. I mean, Zinchenko, to me, I'm sorry, is not a bloody left back. He's proved that. He proved that on the game against bloody Bournemouth. He can't defend. So why do you want to get rid of the best left back we've got?
I think a number of factors play into like people saying Tierney to be sold. Personally, obviously, I don't. Tierney should not be a player that should be sold, in my opinion. The only way I'd say yes to Tierney being sold is if the player himself wants to go, which is fair enough. I think I think you can say a lot with when Tierney was playing for us, especially last season. He's definitely the type of player who was getting forward a lot. I think he's better. It's a bit difficult to say if he's better attacking than he is defensively. I'd probably say he's better going forward, possibly. But a lot last season when we had Tierney in the squad, he was going forward and it was a lot of crosses into the box, type of thing. Especially if he was overlapping someone like Martinelli or Smith Rowe, whoever was playing at the wing at that time. And I think a lot this season has changed in terms of Mikel Arteta's play style. We do like to cross the ball in a few times, but I don't think we were spamming it a lot last season. I think that's what Tierney was sort of producing if he was going forward. I do agree with the fact that I think Zinchenko should definitely not be playing in the position of left back. I definitely think, like Northside said, somewhere like Xhaka's position. But then the factor comes in with, I think Arteta just has this soft spot for Xhaka, which I don't really blame him because majority of this season, Xhaka's been really good for us. He's been solid in the midfield, I'd like to say. I don't think, like I said, I don't see Arteta changing Zinchenko in, dropping Xhaka and then putting Tierney in. I think it's just another thing of it being quite difficult to fit Tierney in. I'd love him to start tomorrow if he wasn't unwell, if that's what reports say. But I know, to answer your question, Jez, I don't think he should be sold. I think it's ridiculous. If we really want this squad depth, if we're going into the Champions League next season, which is pretty much going to happen. If it doesn't happen, I think it's a 1 million that it doesn't happen. We need a good squad, and I think Tierney is definitely one of the reasons how we can definitely rotate well. Is it a shame we haven't been rotating with him? Yes. I think it's also difficult for the player to get in. I think definitely Tierney himself is probably very annoyed that he hasn't got as much game time, and he actually deserves more game time, in my opinion. I think it's going to be down to, at the end of the season, if I'm going to be honest with you, whether he wants to stay or go. And I'm going to be honest, I think he's going to want to go. He wants game time. He's still, 24, 25, something like that? He might be younger than that. He wants game time, and I don't think, with the way Arteta plays his sort of style of football now, I don't see, unless he does drop Xhaka and put Zinchenko in that midfield role, if Zinchenko is the more important player, I don't know, or he drops Zinchenko, I just don't see Tierney getting into the side. And it's a tough one because I don't want him to go. I love Tierney. I think he's a solid player. The fact that he will walk out to that training ground with just some shorts on and a t-shirt, nothing over it. He'll just go out. He's a proper footballer, and it would be a shame to let him go. But then again, I'd be happy for him because I think he could go to somewhere like Newcastle, who are apparently linked to him, or Real Madrid, who've wanted him for the past 2 or 3 seasons, trying to snatch him from us. I think he'd be fantastic for them. One thing I do want to quickly bring up, though, is obviously we're playing in Europa League tomorrow. Obviously, Northside says that we should be playing our strongest 11, which I can definitely agree with. We should be playing our strongest 11 pretty much for the majority of our games this season because they're all really important because I want to do well in the Europa League as well. But someone like this Jakub Kiwior guy, is that how you pronounce his name? Kiwior? We bought him from, where did we bought him from Serie A, didn't we? What's going on with this guy? Did we buy him as a bench warmer? I don't watch Italian football, so don't ask me. But
he's better than the cones and bibs.
Yeah, literally. Because apparently, according to my friend, I've got a very good Polish mate, and obviously he watches the Polish national team, and normally he actually starts for Poland, saying he's a fantastic defender. So is tomorrow the type of game to start him? We're not even starting. Maybe just give him a few minutes, because I've seen him. He's now playing with the under-21s. You're playing for Arsenal v Chelsea in the under-21s when we lost 1-0. So I want him to come in and see what he's all about, because we haven't really had a chance to see him. So maybe tomorrow could be that chance. But I would like to rotate a bit tomorrow. I don't want to go crashing full out because I think I don't want to be getting stupid injuries. I really don't. So maybe just rotating a tad, not a lot, but definitely not like we did the other day, because I don't think Fabio Vieira should be starting. I think that's a case of him being loaned out. But if Tierney, if he's not there, then it is what it is. But he needs to be starting, especially in games like this, or even rotating. He just needs to be getting in this team somehow, because he adds great quality to this team, and we've seen it before. He's been one of our best players in seasons where we've had the poorest of seasons, and he's not appearing anymore, and it's really sad. It's really sad.
Totally agree. Darren, I personally get really annoyed when all of a sudden, 2 seasons ago, everybody's, get Tierney, and now it's, oh, get Tierney out, because we've got Zinchenko. I mean, I just don't understand this philosophy. I just think it's absolute bloody madness. I know there's a lot of people that are sheep and they will follow what a lot of influenced people are, big channel. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know. But, a lot of people will follow this bullshit. Why would you want to get rid of the best left back at the club who's got success, won multiple trophies, and has proven he's an excellent player at Arsenal? Why?
Yeah, don't forget, he's had a good few seasons behind him. Zinchenko's only in his first season, and I've just looked up. Zinchenko's missed 7 Premier League games this season. Don't forget, Zinchenko was out for about a month. I'm sure he was. A good month. And we didn't do too badly without him, did we? We still were winning games. The fan base are a little bit hypocritical, I think, with their Arteta song singing Tierney at the back, and then going on Twitter saying that actually get him out. So where's the logic in that? That's the first thing I'd ask the Arteta fanboys and girls. But it's a tough one because Zinchenko there's no doubt he's got good ability and that, but I just worry about Zinchenko that he wants to be the star of the show. He was a number 10. He's come to us now as a left back, supposedly. Yet he's being given license to be right wing, central midfield, left back, right back, all over the pitch. And when you've got someone like that who might be getting a little bit carried away with themselves, not so much a team player, and what worries me about Zinchenko, and I keep harping on about it, I can't get it out of my head, but what he did up at Etihad at the end of that FA Cup game, in my opinion, was wrong. To be going up to all your old teammates at the end of the game at the pitch, and when you watch the footage, I can't make my mind up if he wants to be friends with them or he wants to punch their lights out.
Yeah.
1 minute he's cuddling them all. Now he's like swinging his arms around and getting sort of hostile and aggressive. And I think, well, if I was in the Arsenal dressing room now, I'd think we've just been beat in the FA Cup away to our rivals, Man City. I'd be pissed off at getting knocked out. I wouldn't be expecting one of my teammates who's transferred from that club we've just been knocked out against to be sucking up to the opposition and trying to be friends and then getting all confused about it and start pushing people around. It's actually quite embarrassing when you look at it. You've got Grealish and a couple of other players sort of pretending to be his friend and then laughing at him. Then he takes his shirt off and hands it over. And none of them want his shirt. They all walk off the pitch and they don't want his shirt. So I'm fully in support of Tierney, keeping him. And I think if we're going to be the Champions League chasing club next season, we need to be keeping Tierney as a backup to Zinchenko, at least. If Arteta decides Zinchenko is his man, there's nothing us as fans are going to be able to do about it. Because most of the fans who go in the ground won't have anything bad said about Arteta anyway. And, I just think we've got to support Tierney as much as we can to keep him in there. And I don't wish any ill about Zinchenko at all. I like him as a player, but these are my concerns about him. He is going to get carried away. He is going to run up the other end of the pitch. And when someone else was saying he runs back, he actually jogs back sometimes. He's not sprinting, he's jogging back to get in position. For me, I would just, I'd say to the fan base, get behind Tierney. Don't want him out. He's a quality player. He's won league titles at Celtic. He's 100% committed. He's scored big goals for us in the past. I mean, all right, West Brom away when it was snowing, when we smashed them 4-0 that time, he actually got a cracking little sort of half volley in the box. And then when we were away at Benfica in this Europa League a couple of seasons ago, he smashed another one in from outside the box. So he's got just as much talent as Zinchenko going forward. It's not only defending, but he's got to have the chance. And if he ain't in the team and he's on the bench, you can't play a game of football sitting on the bench. So ease off Tierney, keep him, support him, and just look at it so that if Zinchenko does get an injury, Tierney's a backup, and then when Tierney gets in, then Zinchenko's his backup. We've got two good players.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Jez. Zinchenko ain't a left back either, really.
No, he's not. I mean, Cyborg Ninja, great comment here. Jez, if Zinchenko gets injured, he'll be subbed by KT, and the fan base will quickly praise the guy. This is what annoys me. And Kenny, I'm going to come to you, mate, because you go week in, week out, and so you're there amongst the crowd. You hear it all, you see it all. I mean, why is this in and out philosophy? I mean, in my day, none of this ever happened. It was you had a squad, you had a solid squad, and you supported them, whoever played. I put this purely, Kenny, purely down to social media. It actually does. It splits the fan base. Somebody says a big channel will say, "Oh well, blah blah. Zinchenko's the man. Tierney's got to go," and everybody then suddenly goes from wanting Tierney to not wanting him. It's bullshit. I mean, I just don't understand it, man.
Well, the thing about it is, first and foremost, these people who are on social media, especially the massive fan count, they've got no influence on anyone at the football club. No, especially at match day, no one notices them now. No one notices them. They may have been noticeable maybe just before lockdown, and even maybe a year before lockdown. But right now, since last season, this season, they are a fly in the ointment. They really are. No one notices who they are. Some of them go past, trying to look around to see if anyone's going to ask them for a photo or recognise them. They look in your face to say, "Don't you recognise me?" And that's not the big ones. That's the ones who go on occasionally. So no one gives any credence or any sucker to any of that, anything they say. Most importantly, as well, the people I go with at football and the people that I actually sit amongst, they do not do social media. Since I've been, some of these guys, when I was going to Highbury, way before the Emirates opened, they had no access to social media, no interest in it. The same with since I've been in the Emirates. I've been to virtually every league game at the Emirates since it's opened. I haven't missed a league game. I have only missed one cup game. I don't go League Cup, but every game bar one I've been to. So I know the situation, what fans are saying, and they are not asking for Kieran Tierney to be sold at all. They sympathise with that situation. Some of them are Kieran Tierney fans. Some of them understand why Arteta's not playing. But Zinchenko gets a lot of criticism as well when you're in the crowd, especially when we're conceding clear-cut chances. And I mean clear-cut chances in matches. And that's not just the home fans are saying. I go away games as well, as many as I can. And the same thing is that they are not in no way influenced by any of the fan cams or YouTubers. Yes, there was kerfuffle last week, a couple of weeks ago against Leicester, when a few pork chops, had a go at people who went in the fan cams. But 9 out of 10 times, I can guarantee you that. If you don't believe me, go to a few games, and I'll tell you that to your faces, straight to your faces. No one takes any notice of people on social media. They only cover a small percentage. And I even go as far as to say a lot of people who have big social media profiles don't necessarily go to every game. Some of them haven't got members. They'll go to the odd game here and there, but they don't go. They haven't got full memberships like me. So people like TV producers mistakenly think that people on social media have an influence on the fan base. They don't. Fans who from abroad who don't go to games think that that someone with a big profile runs a fan base and has an influence on what people say and what people think. They don't. You know, I don't get me wrong. If someone puts something in writing and they're going to go at you, it will annoy you, and it will be in the print. But when you get a match day, nothing. I promise you that, you know, the people I know don't go on social media. Don't actually. In fact, they get irritated when people when AFTV is mentioned. They get irritated when people send the clips because they don't actively go out and watch it. They get angry, and that's why because it's not their life. Their life is to go to the match, you know, have probably a pre-match meal, go to the pub afterwards and discuss it amongst themselves. Not on Twitter. They discuss it on the bus ride home, on the train from to the suburbs, or on the tube. They discuss the match. That's how they do it. They're old-fashioned. That's how they were doing it, you know, 40 years ago, and they're doing it today. The majority of our fans still. Maybe their kids might watch maybe involved in social media, but the diehards are not interested. And that's just facts. And I think that's lost on quite a few people who have big profiles on social media. And a lot of people who go on the biggest fan cam in the club, they generally, you know, it'll be a shock to them once the scales fall from their eyes, but they're just flies in the ointment. They really are.
Yeah. Northside, mate, you've got to bounce. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Not for having me. Not for having me.
What's coming up on your channel, mate? Give yourself a shout out, please.
NorthsideLDN, all one word, on YouTube. The same on my Instagram. Probably got the match reaction. And yeah, that's probably match reaction basically tomorrow. So you can tune in there. The last thing I will say, one thing about Arsenal fans, the ones that are saying this, that they're not taking into account. Football's not just about attacking, it's about defending. They want to get rid of Tini that can defend. Other than Tini, the only one that can really defend is Saliba, Partey are decent defenders. Other than that, there's not many players in the team that can defend. Xhaka's, his best attributes is not defensive. Jorginho, the same thing. Zinchenko, the same thing. Fabi Vieira, the same thing. Tomiyasu, the same thing. And Rob Holding, the same thing. All these players, these lot want to keep. They can't defend. But one of the few players in this team that actually excel defensively, you want to get rid of. And then you wonder why we concede stupid goals. You wonder why when, you know, Saliba or Gabriel or Partey's not in the team, we struggle because we have players like Xhaka, Jorginho, Vieira, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, players that cannot defend. So it doesn't make any sense. You need a balance of quality within the squad, and you need players that offer different things. I understand Zinchenko and his role at the club, but you also need players like Tini that excel defensively when you need to shut up shop and hit somebody on the counter because they've got a very good attack, or they got quality players that know how to put the ball in the back of the net. So there needs to be balance to this. And I don't understand why, you know, just because Zinchenko works, you have to have Zinchenko. Just because Jesus works in his system, the only striker we can go for has to be in the role of Gabriel Jesus. The last thing I'm going to say on it, Ferguson always had an abundance of quality. For every Berbatov, there's a Rooney. They always had different style players that can change the game up, different tools in the bag, different players on the bench. That if your main system ain't working, you've got players that can implement a different style and actually beat that team, actually make that team think twice, and maybe set up a different system against different opposition. So all this thing about, because Zinchenko's new, you know, the new shiny toy, allow it, because there will be games where obviously Zinchenko, his qualities are not needed, and we need somebody that knows how to run down the channels and also will cover the left-hand side. But in saying that, big up the panel, big up Darren, Connor, big up Jez, big up Kenny Ken, and yeah, man. Listen, I got a dash to the station. I'm late picking up my girl, but love, yeah.
Take care, mate.
See you Northside.
Yeah, man. Take care. Tomorrow night, Sporting Lisbon away. Kenny. No, I'll come with Darren first on this one. Darren, are we going to go strong, or are we going to put out a weakened side?
Well, what would you like? What would I like to happen, or what do you think? What do I think Arteta's going to do? God, I just hope he pray don't put Rob Holding in there at centre back. But I think we should go strong. I think I'm just hoping Arteta will go strong and not rotate any more than 2 for this. Just keep, because this is a big trophy. This is the Europa League, all right? It's not the Champions League, but it's still a massive trophy, and we want to win it. You know, we want to put trophies in the cabinet. So I think he'll perhaps rotate a couple tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. I hope he keeps Gabriel and Saliba at the back, right back, keep Ben White and Saka. Because what we want to do, ideally, is go and win this 2 or 3-0. That is the dream for us tomorrow, to go and put this to bed. 3-0 win. That's what we want, because then that gives us a bit of a cushion for the home leg. We won't be able to totally relax, but there won't be as much pressure on the second leg. So that is what we want to do. So I'd probably rotate and stick Tierney in, funny enough, and give Zinchenko a little rest, because he's so busy wearing himself out playing centre forward, centre midfield and left back as well. Won't be long before he's going in goal. So, yeah, I'd stick with him. I'd definitely put Xhaka in, because he's big, he's tall, he likes a row, which is what you've got to have when you're going away from home. You've got a hostile crowd. We need Xhaka in there, and I'll put Partey in there as well. Let's go and do the damage to him in the first leg. And then I'll be tempted to reward Reece Nelson for his performance. Trossard's had this little strain that took him out the Bournemouth game after we went 1 down. He got a little strain. I hope he's not sort of thinking, I don't really fancy this. We're 1-0 down. I don't think that's the case. But at the end of the day, Reece Nelson's what's got us through our last game. And you're only as good as your last game. So I'd reward Nelson and say, listen, you've done a good job for us in them last 10 minutes. Here's your prize. Fight for your place. Get in there. See what terror you can inflict on their back line for me. And then I'll probably say to Martinelli, you'll have to do a job alongside Saka, who's our, strong man in the team, in terms of energy and being consistent. So that's what I'm hoping Arteta would do tomorrow. 2 changes. I bring Tierney in for Zinchenko, and obviously Trossard, who started. If he's got a bit of a twinge and that, and he's had to come off on Saturday, he'll have to sit it out on the bench, and being a very, very good option if we're 1-0 down with 30 minutes left, to bring him on to go and snatch an away goal. So that's what I'm hoping Arteta would do, and that's probably what I would do if I was in his shoes.
Yeah, fair play. Kenny, Jace Corbin says, Jez, I feel Odegaard is underrated. I personally feel Odegaard is better than Dennis Bergkamp. Now,
he don't believe that. He don't believe it, Jace. He don't believe that. He's just trying to get a rise. He doesn't believe that for 1 minute. I think he's trying to emphasise his love and support and appreciation of Odegaard's current form. But, he don't believe that for 1 minute. Not at all. Not at all. He wants me. He either wants to be a pork chop that goes in a freezer, or going to the barbie. He's not going in the barbie. He's staying in the freezer, mate. He knows what he's doing. But saying that about Odegaard's had a very, very good season. You can't deny that. But there's still, because he's only about, was he 23, 24?
Yeah.
He's nowhere near his prime. Maybe when he gets to his prime, he'll be more consistent, get more goals, get more assists. But at the moment he's in really, really good form, and to be honest, he's had a good start to his career at the club, but he's got a long, long way to go before he can be talked in the same breath as Dennis, or even be half as good as Dennis. For instance, he'll have to do better for his country as well. His country has to appear in big, big games as well, because Dennis didn't just do it for his clubs. He did it internationally as well. For a time, I don't know, is he still Holland's top international goal scorer, or was Van Nistelrooy past him? So there's loads of situations where, Jace is just, I think what Jace is doing, he's basically throwing, little stones at the window to see if we're going to come out and chase him. That he didn't mean that for 1 minute. Just little pebbles at the window. See if we're going to come out and chase him and give him a workout. Come on, Jace, you're better than that, mate.
Exactly. Connor, we're away tomorrow, mate. 17:45, I believe, 5:45.
Yep.
UK time kickoff. Sporting Lisbon. We're back in the Europa League. It's been a while. Big break. Yep. It seems forever to me that the Europa League's been around.
Yep.
And I guess it must have been before the World Cup, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah,
so
no, it was, yeah.
It's been a long bloody time. Sporting Lisbon, man, do you think we're going to go with our strong first team setup, or do you think he's going to go out with a slightly weaker team?
I think I agree with Darren. I think only make three changes. I definitely want to be going with our strongest attack. I mean, I think it's pretty hard to choose easy to choose right now because obviously with these injuries, I think I'd go personally. Like I say with Kenny, I think Reece should start. I think you've proven what you can do in the last game. Now don't be a bench warmer. Come on, Mikel. Let's get him out there. Let's let the guy actually prove what he thinks he can do, and hopefully he can prove that to us. So I definitely go with a strong attack of possibly it'll be Reece, Martinelli, and Saka, because I don't think Trossard will be there. And obviously we say Jesus might be there for the bench. I've seen that. I think maybe the whole of the season, but definitely in recent times, Sporting have actually been playing a 3 or like 5 at the back type one. I think it's like what Tottenham do, where it's like 3, but then they go into a 5. So we've definitely got to be attacking well, that's for sure. So we've definitely got to have our strongest attack going, because it could be another situation if possibly, I know they're at home, but if we do take control of the game, they might sit back, and there might be another thing of where we've got to keep pressing to go forward. Midfield, I'd probably keep it the same of Odegaard. I'd go with Jacques. Do you know what? I might be a bit ballsy here, and I was going to say possibly Jorginho and Partey together, but I don't think that would work. I think I'd probably go for Xhaka and probably go for Jorginho. I think keep Partey possibly for the league on the weekend, and then defence. I think possibly, yeah, like you say, keep it the same. I think I'd definitely go with Tierney at left back. I mean, I was going to go back to the thing earlier about how people are saying that. I remember, like you said, Jez, Zinchenko was out for a while, about a month in the start of the season, and we had Tierney. For a couple games, actually, when I looked back, Tomiyasu actually started ahead of Tierney.
He did.
And what's that to say? Is that to say Mikel probably doesn't favour Tierney anymore? Like, what? I don't know what it is about that. So you never know. We might have Ben White at right back tomorrow, and Tierney could actually be in the squad, and it might be Tomiyasu on the left. So you never know.
He's ill. Apparently he's ill, isn't he?
Yeah. So, but yeah, well, if it's fake or not, and he actually makes the team tomorrow, it'll be interesting. I think I'll keep the same thing of Gabriel and Saliba in the back line. I wanted to ask actually all of you quickly before I shall ask you to you in a minute. It'll be quite interesting tomorrow because we do have a old Arsenal player possibly starting for Sporting tomorrow, and Hector Bellerin. He's now at Sporting. Had his little 5-game run at Barcelona. They didn't want him, so they've sent him off to Sporting. So hopefully, if he starts, Saka and our attacking Reece could probably do a bit on him, because I don't think Bellerin really lives up to his what he wasn't that great at Arsenal. But he definitely had his time where he was all right, and so hopefully they can do well there. But I was going to quickly ask: do we go with Ramsdale or do we go with Matt Turner? I'd personally go with Ramsdale. He's fully fit. Why not go with your strongest goalkeeper? Or do you reckon we should be giving Matt Turner a chance? Because realistically, he hasn't really put a foot wrong this season, has he? I think when he has played, he hasn't really done stuff that's made you think, I'm not too sure. Because I remember when we had Runnison and we had Man City, he was doing a Karius. He was pushing the balls into the net. He wasn't doing his thing. So I was going to quickly throw that to you guys. Who do you reckon should be in goalkeeper tomorrow?
Totally agree. Kenny, what do you think, mate? Are we going to go strong? Or I want us to go all out for this.
We're definitely going strong. It's 100%. The fact is momentum. The momentum is key in football. So he's going to want to carry on the good run. Another thing as well, people seem to forget we haven't won a European trophy for 29 years, and that's a disgrace. Part of being throwing your weight around and getting your passport. We're a big club passport out is the fact that how we do in Europe. And if we want to be considered a big team, we've got to do better in Europe. It's non-negotiable. We have to be, go, not shallow boxing at tournaments. People say, "Oh, it's only Europa League." Well, whose fault is it? We're in the Europa League. Our fault, because we weren't good enough last season to get in the Champions League. So, I would go strong. I know Kieran T, is he not fit? If he's not fit, oh God, Kunchenko's going to have to play then. Or no, or you could say Tommy Asu, and then play Benjamin White. But Tommy Asu as a left back, no, not for me. So it's going to have to be Kunchenko. In goal, Matt Turner's done nothing wrong. In fact, he looks solid, and he looks like the sort of person, goalkeeper you think, if anything happened to Aaron, he plays. I don't have any concerns, so he'll definitely play. Centre halves, I want the same centre halves. Nothing personal, it's Rob Holding, but I don't want him near my team. I do rate. Let's not forget the last game, the last group of games in that group where Sporting Lisbon were in a group with Marseille, Tottenham, and Frankfurt. Sporting Lisbon were leading that going into that last game. They were on top of the table. Somehow they managed to find a way to get themselves in the Europa League, because somehow they managed to lose at home to Frankfurt. I don't know how they managed it personally. It was more difficult for them to lose the game than actually get a draw or win the game. So they got something about them, and they're playing us as well, so they're going to be up for it as well. And they're going to be watching that game against Bournemouth, watching all of that games. And let me tell you something now. We still concede a lot of clear-cut chances. That seems to be lost on a lot of Arsenal fans. I can understand it being lost on Arsenal fans because of the way we came back on Saturday. But Bournemouth created 4 clear-cut chances. 4 clear-cut chances, not half chances. 4 clear-cut chances. And they were terrible. And they put men behind the ball, and they kept on giving the possession to us and basically inviting us to win the game because they couldn't hold the ball up. It was probably one of their worst performances tactically, but they conceded. They created 4 clear-cut chances and went 4-0 up. Sorry, 2-0 up. So what does that say? That says that there's still a problem defensively and that teams can exploit it, and they're going to try and do that tomorrow. That's why I want to go strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. Arsenal Manic says our fans are in position right now to mock Chelsea or Spurs. These clubs that we mock might both be in this season's Champions League quarterfinals. When was the last time we made a knockout stage? Which is fact. You can't deny that. We are actually bloody awful in Europe. I've seen Arsenal win 2 trophies in my lifetime in Europe. That's a pretty poor state of bloody affairs, let's be honest with you. But at the weekend, we are away at Fulham. Kenny, you'll be there, I'm sure.
Yes.
At Craven Cottage, quirky little ground, isn't it?
It's actually like Fulham and Stamford Bridge is so extraordinary. Fulham FC plays in Putney, SW6. Chelsea FC plays in Fulham, SW6.
Yeah.
And their local station is called Fulham Broadway. If you go on your like I said, your sat nav or whatever things you have on your phone, your 360, it'll come up as Fulham. And if you go to Fulham's ground, it'll come up as Putney.
Yeah. And then if you go down Fulham Palace Road, that takes you to Fulham's ground.
Exactly, yeah. Fulham's, and that's a Fulham's ground. It's quite extraordinary. It's one of the weirdest things ever that, and then if you got, and the real Chelsea is actually in Kensington and Chelsea, so it's mad, but they're both beautiful. They're both my beautiful grounds, both beautiful places to go to. Let's just say I get a king's welcome when I go there because it's so nice restaurants, nice everything. Love it. Can't wait to go there. And it'd be my 51st birthday that day anyway on Sunday, so I'm going to even more. So I'm going to enjoy it even more. But most importantly, the game itself is going to be very, very competitive. As I said when I was analysing the game against Sporting tomorrow, we're still creating clear-cut chances. I saw the game with Fulham and Brentford in the West London derby. Hounslow versus Hammersmith, and Fulham were competitive in that game. Brentford just took more chances, but Fulham had some good moments. They're going to be very encouraged by, our left back going walkies. They're going to be very encouraged by our best player having to cover players who are out of position. They're going to be encouraged as well by the person who was our best centre half letting the ball bounce a lot and trying to take risks. And you know what I'm talking about, don't you? You know, and that's where we need to be on our mettle. We need to be better defensively because we can't keep on having to score 3 goals to win games. One goal isn't enough at the moment because we're poor defensively. Not as a 4-man defence, but collectively. Make too many. I don't like it. It worries me how he plays. Exciting for all of you guys and exciting for them, but not for me, mate. It's like heart attack football.
Yeah, mate. I tell you, last weekend, dear God, that was for me. Danny says, Jez, I've got to pay you a Centimillion Grand Cru 2009. Not an expert, but best red ever. Very nice wine. I don't know which one you've had there, but Centimillions are very, very nice wines. That is for sure. And hope you. I presume you're drinking it and enjoying it. So good luck to you, my fella. Connor, Fulham away. Tricky little place to go. Craven Cottage. It's a quirky little ground. I love it.
Yeah.
I tell you, for me, going to Goodison and going there is like, to me, going to playing football in the 30s. Because really quirky old little grounds, and I love it. I love it there.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be? How do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, well, first thing to say about the stadium is I agree with you I agree with when you say it's like an old school stadium. Like even when the players walk out, they're literally walking out from nearly the back of like when you walk out the back of the Fulham Craven Cottage Stadium. Like they don't have any tunnels or anything like that. It's proper like an old school stadium. So yeah, I definitely have a soft spot for where Fulham lie. But listen, don't underestimate them. Not an easy game. I literally had a bet with my mate at the start of the season. I said to him, I'm telling you right now, that Fulham side will not get relegated this season. A lot of people saying, they're going straight down, but no, they've got really good side, some really good players, in attack. You've got that Solomon fella who's just come back from injury recently and he's been brilliant. He was actually linked with us for a while. I remember we were trying to get him, but obviously never happened. And he's obviously become a really good talent and creative player for Fulham. Obviously, Mitrovic, it's the striker that I think Arsenal should even be going in for. He'd be great to replace someone of the likes of Nketiah. He's tall, he's physical, goal scorer. Like, what more can you ask? Just because, I don't think he gets enough praise because he plays for a team. In no disrespect to Fulham, who are obviously a team who are sort of bounce up and down from the leagues. Not that top. And it's the same with Ivan Toney. I think Ivan Toney doesn't get enough praise. I know, when he plays for Brentford, I think he's another great player. But no, I think. Listen, I think we can't be underestimating these teams. I definitely think this isn't a game where Mikel should be going more attacking, because I definitely think that's what he was trying to do against Bournemouth with putting Fabio Vieira in the team and taking Xhaka out. Definitely got to be defensively minded. Fulham are a very solid side. I think it's going to be... I'm not even going to make a prediction. I obviously want us to get a win because that's what we've got to be doing every game. But you've got to look at the goal difference now. We've got to start keeping these clean sheets now, because you never know. By the end of the season, goal difference could play a massive part. Let's be real about it. And no game now is going to be easy. You look at Bournemouth the other day. No game's going to be easy whatsoever. So it's hard to predict. Do you know what? All I'm going to say is I'm hoping for a win. I hope Willian doesn't score. That's what I'm going to say.
Right.
That's what I'm going to say. Because he's actually had his shooting boots on a few times this season for them. So, and he'll obviously get a start. Do you know what? Again, another massive thing. Paulinho is still suspended for them. So that's a plus for us. He's still
good
suspended.
news. That's good news.
Yeah. So that's a big thing for us, because he's probably their best player, or one of their best players anyway. So do you know? I'll give you a prediction. I'm going to say, we're obviously going to put our strongest team out. I won't write us off. I'm going to say 2-0. 2-0. I want to keep a clean sheet.
That's what I predicted, 2-0. Darren, you've been down the old cottage a few times. in your life, and it is tricky. It's a quirky little place, isn't it? Right down in the river. I often wonder how that ground hasn't fallen in the Thames, to be honest. But before we get on to that, Darren, I just want to say to people, anybody that's new, please give us a sub. I think I'm 12 away from 3,500 subs. So I need 12 just to get there. Not going to get it live, obviously. Might do on playback, which is always a bonus. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I always have great people on my panel. They speak the facts. There's no bullshit here. It's pure football knowledge, love for the Arsenal. So please smash the likes up. Please sub. More great content will be coming. We always do the right stuff on here. We're honest people. We don't go with the flow. Kenny doesn't. Kenny doesn't. And nor does Darren. It's all old school here. Well, maybe not Conor. He's a young man. But he knows stuff. Kenny, 51 on Saturday. I wish you all the best. No, Sunday. I beg your pardon. Sunday.
No, so you know what it is that what's even more. My daughter's 18th is on the Saturday. It's on the sort of Friday, but she's going out on a Saturday around Upper Street with her friends. So right. Can you believe it? So like I said, I'm going to be probably keeping my eye out then, and getting up early and then getting to to like Craven Cottage for the game. But yeah, it's a double kind of celebration. It's probably like that every year now, isn't it? Since my daughter's born, but it's cool. It's nice to go to the game. I hope we don't concede, but Fulham got nothing to lose. They're not like I said, going to get relegated. They're probably going to be going to Europe. And let's face it, their home record at the Cottage is brilliant. I think they've only lost twice. They've lost to Man United, last minute goal by Garnacho, and they lost to Newcastle when Newcastle cleaned them out. Apart from that, they've had a very, very solid home record.
Leno is one of the biggest reasons for that. Leno is definitely. You've got to be fair to Leno. He has gone to that side, and he is probably one of the reasons why they are where they are. He's just said times he's been absolutely fantastic. And do you know what? Maybe I probably even changed my prediction. I completely forgot about him. I think he could be one of the reasons why we could be another 1-0 actually. Now I think about it because of Leno and goal.
Yeah, but Mitrovic is a bit off form as well. But Vinicius has been a good deputy for him whenever Mitrovic, before the World Cup was fantastic. Since the World Cup, he's been a bit quiet. But playing against Arsenal, top team in the Premiership at the moment, I'm sure that would, like I said, galvanise him.
Absolutely, totally agree. Before we wrap it up, Darren, as I said, you've been down the old Cottage many, many, many times, man. How do you see it going on Sunday, mate?
Hopefully we'll have some energy. That's the thing that I think we're going to need against Fulham is energy, because whenever I see them play, their players all look quick. Whether that's because they've not been playing so many games, but they're still in the FA Cup. They just beat someone 2-0. I saw them. I think it was Leeds they beat. And Leeds in that game should have got 2 or 3 themselves and just missed loads of chances. So we are going to get chances. I think I was initially thinking draw to a win, away win. Now I'm more sort of changing it and thinking away win 2-1. I think we will concede because Mitrovic ain't been playing well. He has dropped off. But the thing with him is he's a big, powerful striker, and the ball can just get played into him, and he's always going to be there in a danger from corners. Somebody just put in the chat, Titzo, saying that we need to be better on our corners, and he's right. We ain't got any goals from earlier on in the season. We had Gabriel and Saliba nipping up at the back. I saw Saliba put one in at Brentford. We need to start doing a bit more of that again. We ain't been doing much of that again. We need to get that back in. So I'll 2-1. I reckon I can see us winning 2-1 on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's the defending as well, because good. If you look at we're going to need to be careful with because if teams put good delivery against us and get good movement, we struggle as well. Because I think you need to keep your eye on Saliba. Saliba's, so in terms of like his levels, they've dropped off a little bit. Yeah. Where, if anything, Gabriel Magalhaes has been the better defender overall this season. In fact, he's been fantastic since he's got. There's been a few odd moments, like the first goal against Bournemouth. He missed his clearance, went under his feet, and maybe he wasn't part of the 108 club when Tanisi scored. But apart from that, he's looked more solid than Saliba. Saliba's it's like he's looking at his pace to get him out of trouble, letting the ball bounce when he shouldn't be doing it. He's taking more risks. Maybe he's been asked to play like that to try and get the ball on the ground, on the floor, and try and pass the ball forward. Maybe that's what it is.
Kenny, Arsenal Manic says, dye your beard some random colour to shop your daughter for your birthday.
What's that? Red and white. Red and white. Red and white, innit?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, and all that. Kenny, shout yourself out. Where can we find you, man?
Instagram at KennyKen1972. Have a good time. I'm probably going to be watching the Spurs game. It's delayed again. I don't know. It must be something with London Transport because Chelsea game was delayed as well. But normally I'll draw the curtains if Spurs are playing. But I'm thinking, you know what? It's Champions League. I was probably going to go and watch Bayern Munich versus PSG, but PSG are already goal down, and Bayern Munich are playing at home. So I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that's going to be a foregone conclusion.
And Neymar's out as well for PSG, so that's a massive hit.
Yeah. So that's it. So that's, again, it's one of those things where Bayern Munich just have to defend well and as a team and make sure they don't concede and they're through. So who knows? But the Spurs game, anything can happen. But I'm sure VAR will have a massive, massive part to play in this match.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that one. I'm going to watch it in a minute. Connor, give yourself a shout out, man. Promote your graphic stuff, mate.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, cmo.editing is my editing account. It's if anyone ever wants to hit me up for any editing or anything for their channels or Instagram or anything like that, I'm more than happy to help you out. And also my personal account, Conor MXO, and I'm actually looking forward tonight to the Tottenham game. My Giroud's starting, so hopefully he gives a bit of a masterclass towards that defense. Because that Tottenham defense is shocking, and I generally would not be surprised if Milan do score tonight. But it's definitely going to be a game which you can't really predict. So that's the one I'm going to be tuning in for tonight, and it'll be an interesting one. But come on, I hope Milan win it. So that's another competition they've got.
Come on, Milan. Forza Milan.
Yeah.
Yeah, top man.
Thank you.
I say Connor has done all the graphics, the intro, and all that for me. It's awesome. People comment all the time about the intro with the song and all that lot. It is amazing. Get a lot of people liking it. So Connor, I'll be contacting you very soon about something else.
Yeah, sure.
I want you to do. So
cool.
I'll be talking to you soon, man. Darren, where can we find you, my friend?
Yeah, Darren Sullivan 49 on Insta. I'm looking forward to the games tonight. I'll keep an eye on them. Obviously, be cheering for Milan in the back. I might not watch the whole lot because whenever I sort of switch the football on, if I'm not watching Arsenal, eventually, if I do switch on and monitor a Tottenham game, I'll have to turn it off eventually because that song they sing just makes me feel ill. I can't tolerate any more than 5 minutes of it. And whilst we're on the subject of VAR, Chelsea, I reckon the VAR official come from Kingston upon Thames last night.
Yeah.
He got 2 attempts at the penalty. It didn't look good. And let's hope tonight the VAR man comes from Upper Street, Islington, maybe.
True. Definitely.
That's what we want.
Very quick question, very quick roundup before we go. Thomas says, what happens if Arsenal win nothing this season?
Gutted. Because I think what's happened is that the way we were playing, demands that we win something this season, and not because it's what the fans want. I think the players deserve it, and they deserve some sort of credit for what they've done. And that's why for them, more just as much for myself, we need to win a title. You know what I mean? I want the title. I want the Premiership title, but I also want the Europa League as well. And I think I think that over because that, even though it's a cup competition, you know, it's probably one of the most. It's probably, I'm not saying the Champions League is more difficult, obviously, because you've got more quality teams in there. But in terms of the Europa League, it's the travel. You know, like I said, making sure you're mentally focused on winning it, because let's face it, you'd rather be in another tournament rather than that. You know what I mean? But you know, the way we played this season, it'd be such a shame that we didn't. Because remember 2007, 2008 season with Kleb, Rosicky, Fabregas, Van Persie, Adebayor, Gallas. You know, that team, which was a very, very good team. They didn't win anything, and I thought that was a shame, because that team played some beautiful football.
Yeah, totally agree. Connor, what happens if Arsenal, after the glorious season it has been so far, end up second and win nothing? How do you see it, man?
I agree with Kenny. Gutted, completely gutted. I mean, you know, I'm taking it game by game. I've never out and out said we're winning the league this season, because it's a massive. It's probably the biggest thing you could ever say towards your team, saying you're going to win the league. So I'm taking it game by game. Obviously, I want us to win the league more than anything. You know, it's especially at my age. I'm just 19, and I just love us to see us lift the league title. You know, this isn't me being a bit of a negative Nenny, but you know, even if we do get second, which I don't want whatsoever, want that trophy, but even if we do get second, you know, you've got to be proud of what we've achieved in that, because past seasons has just been terrible. I saw someone put up there about, obviously, let's be honest, when we finished 8th twice, none of us still wanted it. It was, I highly doubt there was many people that wanted Arteta in the role, you know, and the fact that this squad, some of these players have made this massive turnaround, you've got to look at it in hindsight. It has been a great season for us as it stands, and hopefully it does carry on. And this Europa League, I'm going to be real with you. I know we had that season with Chelsea where we got absolutely destroyed in Baku. I really don't see why we can't go and win this trophy, man. I really don't. You know, you're looking at a side like Man United. I think they got really humbled the other day. And I know they won the Carabao Cup. Congratulations to them. But they're not a changed side yet. I think Ten Hag's a fantastic manager. I think he can really take them. Unfortunately, I think he can really take them places and really change that team up. All he needs is a bit of cash, and I think he could really take that team far. There's obviously some weak spots in their team, so I definitely think if we can't knock them out, I definitely think someone else will beforehand. I'm really hoping for Betis to pull something off, but I don't think they will. But I don't see why we can't go for this Europa League. But I think, for your question, Jez, to answer it, I think if we don't win anything this season, it's not going to be an Arteta out kind of. I know there'll be a lot of people saying Arteta out, this, that out, Kroenke's out, this and that. You've got to be respectful of where we've got so far. No one thought we'd be in this position this season. Let's be real. If you got asked to start the season, where do you think Arsenal will finish? You would not think they would be in a title race. So you've got to respect it in this situation. But at the end of the day, let's just think about winning these 2 trophies, and hopefully we can do it.
Yeah, that's a great comment, Conor, actually, because this guy really legit put some respect on Arteta's name. Many of you still don't rate him as a manager. I think you need to put it into context. He won an FA Cup with a team that wasn't his. Respect. He hasn't won anything since. So the respect will be on Arteta's name if he wins the Premier League and or the Europa Cup. Until he does something like that, then where's the respect? I'm sorry. I am very admirable of what he has achieved this season. He has got his team. He's got his squad that he wanted. He spent a shed load of money, but he hasn't yet won anything. the consequence with this team. So that's what it is. The fact of the matter is, you can't respect a manager until he's actually won something that he has actually achieved himself. And I've heard people say, "Oh, he's won 2 trophies." No, he won a Charity Shield and he won the FA Cup. The FA Cup, he fluked through Sheffield United and Man City. Chelsea had one of their best players injured, and we won it. Okay, fair enough. I'll accept that. But until he wins the Premier League and a European trophy, or a European trophy, then at this point in time, it is what it is. I absolutely respect what he's done this season. I totally do. And I'll put my hands up. If he wins the Premier League, I will be the first person to say, "Well done, Mr. Arteta. Well done to you, sir." Darren, give us your opinion, mate.
Yeah, I think really legit, really is looking for sympathy for Arteta. He's looking for sympathy in his comments where he's saying show some respect on him, because Arteta was a trainee manager when he came at Arsenal. He did inherit that cup because it was much like Unai Emery's team that was built that won that FA Cup. A little bit like, who was it? Ron Saunders left Aston Villa in the 80s. You probably
That's
know
right, yeah.
And then a guy called Barton come in and they did a documentary where all the players and everyone coughed up and said, "This is Ron Saunders' European Cup. It's not Barton's European Cup. This is Ron Saunders' European Cup." And that is Emery's FA Cup. I'm sorry. Arteta come in, because what's he done since? He's dismantled that team. He's got rid of Aubameyang. He's got rid of Pepe. He stripped all that down and started again. So I don't even think you can attribute our FA Cup win to Arteta. I don't think he's won anything, personally. But
There was reports this morning. I saw
sympathy for him before the end result of this season's panned out. A lot of fans will now be saying, "This is Arteta's team. This is Arteta's squad. Let's judge him this season." Yeah, it's all right. We are going to judge him this season, and let's see what happens at the end of the season. But until the end of the season arrives, no, I'm not putting any respect. I'm not disrespecting Arteta anymore. I used to. But this season, I'm not disrespecting him because I think, well, actually, I can see where he's learned from his mistakes in previous seasons.
You know what it is, Darren? It's very puerile, that comment that the guy made. It's puerile. That's the sort of puerile rubbish that you'll get on a Man United fans channel where he, for some reason, he talks more about Arsenal and bigs up Arsenal than his own club that lost 7-0 at the weekend. I mean, that's just pure. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm going to catch you out because you were wrong. Because you guys must look really stupid because you slagged off Arteta and blah blah. And now you've got to change your mind. And when you tell them to go jump in a lake or just do something drastic in their lives that doesn't involve you. Oh, you lot are arrogant. You won't accept you're wrong. I mean, these people are just embarrassing.
We're responsible for Arteta's development because he knows at the start of this season, if he'd have been 8th, 10th, 12th by October when the World Cup started, he probably would have lost his job.
Exactly.
So he had to focus more. He had to think, I've got to get this right. I've got to sort myself out. I am doing things wrong in my press conferences, team selection, bringing Saliba back instead of ostracising him out to, France.
That's a stroke of luck that fell in his lap because I felt to be convinced that he was that was a part of the plan. I'm not convinced that was part of the plan.
No.
I saw this morning on Sport Bible, whether they're a reliable source or not, that apparently Real Madrid are plotting a move for Arteta next season. Whether that will happen or not, because my mate sent it to me, and they had the right thing at me. They were like, "Oh well, it'll go if Real Madrid come calling you. You got to go." And
the only way Ancelotti loses that job if he doesn't win the Champions League, retain the Champions League, or doesn't win the Liga. So you never know whether Arteta will say yes or not. I don't know, man. I don't know. Arsene Wenger tells everyone who listens that how many times he turned down Real Madrid to stay at the Arsenal. Football. I don't know, man. Depends if Arteta thinks that he can that he can improve the squad and get us challenging every year, he can stay. If he doesn't and thinks and doesn't want to meet the challenge of an improved Man City, an improved Man United, and a stronger Liverpool, stronger Chelsea, then yeah, he'll go to Terminal 5 and get himself out of there, mate.
I'm a bit like sick of the if buts and maybes, you know. I just like all my mates are saying, oh, but if you don't do this, if you don't win the league, it's this and that. Like, let the season play out. Let's just let it all play out, see what happens, and if people want to banter us, then just do it. Like, there's no, you've like a lot. I retain some people that I talk to. Like, I don't feel like Arsenal actually getting as much respect as they should be right now. You look at us.
It's better though. It's better that we don't get the respect because it's more pleasurable when we win it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, if we end up winning it, I am just all summer. You
remember when Arsenal were at their best? Under George Graham, we all hated because they said that Tony Adams was a disgrace because he went in jail. And then when Arsene Wenger, they were talking about this is the 70th player to be sent off under Arsene Wenger. So more of the same. I can't stand people like
that makes me laugh because 1 minute they were saying that Wenger was thugs and red cards, and then the next minute when we sorted out the red cards, it was Arsenal got a soft underbelly, you know.
Yeah, they can't make their minds up about us. I love it. I don't want the media to love us. I want them to hate us. I want them to hate us.
Yeah,
you know, I want opposition fans to hate us. I don't want a YouTuber clickbait YouTuber bigging us up. We don't need your support, mate. Stick to your own club. Support your own club.
Kenny, the channel you're talking about, and I know what you're talking about. You summed it up big time today in the group chat. That guy is just—he's a clown. All he does is do it. He likes to wind people up and get idiots on there just to actually fit his views. I get that. Because he's got a big channel and he wants to get the views because he makes money out of it. But at the end of the day, he's entertaining children. Simple fact. That's all it is entertaining children who actually have absolutely no knowledge of Arsenal, and they will follow the herd because that's what they do. Because if somebody says, it's got to be this, then that's what people have got to say. No, sorry. It's like another big channel that made out they're the voice of the fans. No, you're not the voice of me. I'm too old, mate, to follow the band. I make my own opinions. I've been around the club for far too bloody long to listen to what other people are going to tell me what I sodding think. And that's why people get the ump with me, because it is what it is. I mean, you've been around Darren, you've been around this club a bloody long time. Conor, you've watched the club. I don't know, Conor, whether you've ever seen us win a Premier League.
Unfortunately not. I'm only 19. I was born in 2003. Actually, I was born in 2003. So, just missed it.
But I've said this before, guys. I hope Arsenal win the Premier League because I think it will educate an awful lot of very young fans to understand what it actually means to win the Premier League and the euphoria and the buzz you'll get from it, because it's a different experience. Not listening to these people that will try and influence your views, thoughts, and put out, and then they all come out with all this hate because certain channels don't go along with all the other sheep. It's ridiculous. And anyway, before I get into a rant, we'll leave it there. Because I could get into one on that one, because I do. Kenny, thank you for coming, mate, as always.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. You know that. It's always a pleasure. Absolute legend. And enjoy the game. I hope you have a great birthday.
Cost.
A young 51. So that makes you actually Yeah, you're 11 years younger than me. 'Cause I'm 62 in May. So have a great day, mate. Hope your daughter has a lovely birthday at 18. Hope she doesn't get too milled and, like drinking too much and all that. But, I know what it's like. I've got 2 daughters myself. When they were that age, and they were a bloody nightmare. And be honest, mate, they still are. Be honest. Even though
I've got daughters as well. They're both nightmares.
oh, mate. I tell you what,
ones.
my son is no grief. My 2 girls, even now, 33 and 32, they're a bloody nightmare. Always, it's always dad this, dad that. I'm like, you're bloody adults, for Christ's sake, and they've got children, yeah. But it's dad, oh dad, oh dad. You never get rid of them. Connor, mate, thank you for coming on, my friend.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
You speak facts, and you do amazing work with your graphics. So big up to you.
Thank you very much.
And I'll say again before we go, anybody contact CMO if you need graphic stuff done for whatever. He's amazing. Darren, mate, thank you for coming on.
Thank
as
you.
Always. You probably didn't see it, but after our last show, the amount of people said, get Darren on regularly.
Oh, that's very nice of them.
Yeah. So, fair play to them. And thank you for coming on, mate. So we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to do the outro, and we'll call it there. Tomorrow, big game, Sporting Lisbon. I'm going 2-0. I'm going positive. And big up.
I'm going 1-1.
1-1. Oh, you're going 1-1. That's a good result out there. I'm being Mr. Positivity. So big up, everyone. And before we go, Stephen just says, old school, 60 November, same as Righty. Is he? Really?
Wow.
No. He can't be 60, can he? Really? He will be.
Oh, no way.
Have a quick look.
Ian Wright's going to be 60 in November. No way.
He is going to be 60 in November. He was born 3rd of November, 1963.
Him and
Really?
John Barnes are going to be 60 in November. Wow.
I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
No.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and big up the Arsenal tomorrow night, and take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hit the subs, hit the likes. I'm only 12 away from 3.5, I think. Something like that. Anyway.
I'm relieved to hear that you've been to some far places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live